Hi, this is Rebecca, and I just wanted to show you my 20-gallon long Minnow setup. Do you mind? Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is my cold water minnow setup, and I just have some Fathead minnows in here that were left over from fishing for trout last year. So these guys have been in retirement for about 11 months now, and just kind of wanted to explain my setup. So they like cool water, I think between like 50 and 60 some degrees. So to cool the water, I use evaporative coolant. I have this coolant fan that is usually used for like saltwater tanks. And then for filtration, I have this hang on back filter for 20 gallon, and then I have two sponge filters. And these, actually all of these provide some evaporative coolant. So in the summertime it does get quite humid in my room, so I have to run a dehumidifier, because basically what cools the tank is the water evaporating. So right now in my apartment it's about 72 degrees, but the fish tank is running at, oh, I can't see it, 60, somewhere between 62 and 63 right now. So it typically runs somewhere between 60 and 64 degrees Fahrenheit. And right now there's about 19 or 20 minnows in here. Most of them are just the regular fathead minnows, and then some of them are gold. And then for food, I mostly feed goldfish flakes. I also have some community pellets that I feed them. And then sometimes I feed them frozen bloodworms as like a special treat. Yeah, the cat wants to be in the video now, but just put that in, and they'll realize there's food there and start coming out for it. They don't really like light. I do have lights on these tanks because of the plants, but they like to hide under the sponge filter and under this piece of wood. As far as plants go, I have Brazilian pennywort up here, and then I have a, I forget what this is called, it's some kind of root, and there's Java moss on it. The Java moss used to be lower, but kind of died out down there and started actually growing out of the water. I have some kind of Anubias down there. I forget what that one's called. And then we got a bunch of Java fern. There's two Anubias Nana Petite. One of them is a cut-in that's just starting to get some leaves, the one on the left, and then the one on the right is my more mature plant. And then we've got some more Java fern over here. Got some Java fern and another Anubias cut-in on that rock. And then, hang on back, I'm actually using a coarse sponge, and then I have some ceramic beads that ceramic circles, biomedia that I actually super glued together to make like a grid. So that's just for beneficial bacteria to grow on. So instead of replacing like a filter cartridge, I can just clean out the coarse sponge in some dirty tank water. And yeah, these guys do produce a lot of nitrates. The plants help a lot with reducing that. Like, they always seem super hungry, but if I reduce their feeding, or if I go on vacation and my boyfriend feeds them, he feeds them less than I do, and then the plants end up sucking up the excess nitrates. Otherwise, I do like just like a 50% water change every week to reduce the nitrates, because they get pretty high. I haven't had any issues with ammonia since the tank cycled. It did take a very long time for this tank to cycle, I think, because of the cooler temperatures. I also had to add some crushed coral to bring up the pH of the tank, because my tap water, when I put it in a fish tank, it drops to like 6 or below for pH, and it's really hard to get a tank cycling when the pH is that low. But it is cycled, it's planted. It's a little excessive for bait fish, but I like it. Oh, and these are 2 lights that I got off of Amazon. I'll link them below. It says farmhouse, but I don't think that's what the name is of them. But they are LED lights, and they have a timer, and you can also adjust the white and the blue intensity. I keep them pretty low, and then I don't usually use the blue light. And then there's like a night blue mode, a red, white, green, and blue mode, and then I usually use the white, red, and green LEDs, because blue is more for salt water. It doesn't really have any benefit to a freshwater tank. So I also have a 10-gallon betta tank. I wanted to upgrade that to a 20 or maybe even a 40-gallon, because I want to be able to put some coolie loaches in with him, and maybe some cory catfish. Because right now I only have 1 coolie loach that my friend, he only had 1 and he didn't want it. And they actually prefer to be kept in groups of 6, but I can't put 6 plus a betta in a 10-gallon, or they would probably die of ammonia poisoning. So I think I will show the tank later, but I am planning on upgrading it. But here in my bed, my minnows living their retirement life. Kind of interested to see how long they live. I think I read online that they usually live like 1 to 2 years, and I've had these guys for about a year now, so just kind of interested. The only thing is, because I have this wood sticking out, and also because I use evaporative coolant, I don't have a lid on the tank. So the downsides to that is, 1, the cats think this is an amazing drinking fountain, and 2, I do very rarely get a minnow that jumps out. I think I've had like 3 in the past year that I didn't notice until I found them just all dried up on the ground, and that's unfortunate. But with all this stuff I have here, I don't know how I can really prevent it. For the plants, I use Aquarium Co-Op Easy Green fertilizer. And I do test the water sometimes with the API Freshwater Master Test Kit. Right now I'm mostly just trying to get a good reading on the nitrates. Sometimes I check for ammonia, but it's been at 0 for a really long time now. I also sometimes put leaf zone fertilizer, but that is not as good of a fertilizer as the Easy Green. It just doesn't have as many nutrients in it. And then I have one of these by my sink, but I use this in my tap water to condition it. And that's pretty much it. Got a bucket of dechlorinated water here, because I will lose about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of water a day to evaporation. and then I'll just scoop more water in to the tank. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching, checking out my little minnows here, and I hope you have a good day.